Yeah.
Who looks worse here in the AB saga, Brown or Gruden?
I don't think either one looks bad. I'm going to be real. I think the news is splashing.
Holy cow, we stopped the presses. No one looks bad.
No. I mean, well, look, where the rubber meets the road in terms of what I consider bad is in production. So all this is just noise. All this is just smoke. I'm looking at this situation like as preseason. And we're talking about AB, who's missing training camp other than 2 practices. And he has his reasoning. And then we're looking at Jon Gruden, who has a 10-year contract, which is longer than 6 of the 10 most active coaches in terms of their tenure right now. That means his contract terms are longer than most guys are even going to be allowed to coach. Even if you win a Super Bowl, you can ask Pete Carroll about that, who hasn't even been there for 10 years in Seattle. So I think right now there's a noise level that is higher than ever. But it goes both ways. And it's the same classic hits that the media always plays in the preseason. There's 2 ways this goes. If something good happens, it doesn't matter. It's just a preseason. You know, Detroit Lions were 4-0 the same year they went 0-16. Remember that? Okay. So all this is great. Oh, they're going to go undefeated. They're going to win the Super Bowl. No, they're not. And then the flip happens. If something bad goes on in the preseason, we blow it so out of proportion and forget that this has to meet reality. And right now, they're not in that place. So I don't think either one looks bad. If you're forced, gun to head, say who has the most to prove, it's Antonio Brown because he doesn't have the same guarantees and security as a Jon Gruden.
Well, he has a lot of guarantees. And to me, this is Antonio Brown. And to criticize Mayock or John for trading for Antonio Brown for a 3rd-round draft pick, to me, that's a pretty small barrier for a guy who's had
$30 million in new money.
But he's also had 6 100-yard receiving years in a row. He had led the league in receptions with 15 touchdowns last year. So the production and trying to defend against him over the course of time, he is a really special player. So to get him at that rate, that was a pretty unique opportunity. And John has dealt with guys that have had character issues in the past, and he's done a good job with it. So I understand why he would look at that risk reward and think that it was suitable. I mean, Odell Beckham goes for
$30 million.
Odell Beckham goes for a number 1 draft pick. I mean, that's a much higher price for a guy who isn't as productive as Antonio Brown. You know, in terms of the injury to his feet, I don't understand how that could be an accident. I'm gonna just have to take John's word on that. That to me, I don't understand that aspect of it. And the helmet issue, look, that's not going to get resolved in any way besides the league is going to have you wear one of the helmets that you're supposed to wear. So the quicker Antonio Brown comes to that realization, the better. But John really has no alternative but to support him in this because ideally you got to get him to Sunday.
I'll agree with Coach. Loved your opening monologue, but
a little rough.
You didn't
right.
have anything to do with it, Coach Gruden. So, it's way too early. It's just way too early. I mean, you got 2 issues. I mean, we would be concerned if you got one thing with the foot going on, and now you got the helmet thing. Who knows? Maybe the helmet thing's kind of buy yourself some time until the foot gets better so that guy can get on the practice field. But the bottom line is 74 touchdowns and 11,000 yards, and he's a good player. So let's let this thing play itself out. They're getting to know each other a little bit. I'm confident that Coach Gruden hasn't had his official training camp meeting where they go through the rules of what you do and don't do as far as phones in the meeting rooms and tweeting here and tweeting there. They'll get all that stuff straight. But I think we're jumping out there way too soon.
2 guys with long coaching tenures in the NFL. One guy played in the NFL for 10 years. I'm sitting here blown away because what I think I'm hearing from you all is like, man, if you knew what the kind of crazy stuff that goes on in the NFL, this doesn't really shock you all.
A little desensitized over here? Is
that what I'm hearing?
I mean, we left ourselves 2 hours a day for stuff that came up that you didn't anticipate. But again, well, let's just say this. Ask this question. If they don't do the Khalil Mack trade or they don't trade the receiver to Dallas and they're both on the roster, granted, they may not have Antonio Brown, but if both those guys are on the roster, are there big issues?
Look, I take it like this, Coach. The reason I sound desensitized maybe to someone who's outside this locker room is you could go back to when the Patriots and their demise was predicted. What was this, in 2017 in the playoffs? Oh, it's crumbling in Foxborough. And everyone ran with that. They've been to 2 Super Bowls and won one since. And I'm just trying to tell you what the...
We're talking about the Raiders.
Look, I don't give a damn who you're talking about. The Raiders have a lot of championships. A history of winning. And not of recent history. But let me tell you what AB is standing on. AB is standing on one. There is actually a real objective reason why he's objecting to this new helmet. There's a vision bar that a lot of receivers complain about. You got to get used to it. AB will get used to it. I think AB will be in camp sooner than later. But the other part is the NFL. And AB is calling BS on the NFL, and I'm glad he is. Because the NFL has now come up with the new standard of testing, which is recent because of the lawsuit settlement in 2016. There's a 5-year relationship between the union and NFL, blah, 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 boring. But here's the thing. The NFL gave these players a transitional year. You know why they gave them a transitional year? We want to ease you into these new helmets. Are you kidding me? NFL, 1 year, you want us to go out there and play with a helmet that is substandard, and if we get brain damage in that 1 year, it's okay? And if not, we have to switch helmets? You know what it was?
If there's 1,700 players, one guy is refusing to wear the new helmet.
One guy is refusing it because he has the stones. One guy is not the only one objecting to it, but he won't go. He's the only one going to this measure. What about that transitional year? What about the fact that his helmet has been proven not to be substandard by the new procedures? Except we're not going to go back that far to test these helmets. Why won't you? Just to protect yourself in lawsuits, not based on the integrity of the game or how this guy feels in that performance.
I think I'm more in line with Jeff in the sense that the helmet feels like a little bit of something to buy time to get away from the feet and get away from all the other stuff as opposed to... Look, maybe his motivations are that pure and are that principled that he wants to take a stand here, but it just feels a little bit more like if he's dealing with the helmet issue and fighting that, at least everybody's not talking about the other thing, which is the feet that he really has no control over until it gets healed.
And I tend to agree with you all. I know these two guys well. Jeff, I'm assuming you have kids.
Yes,
this sounds like a kid with a little smoke screen. He's created one. He got busted smoking pot, and he's now deflecting to something else so he doesn't have to answer those questions. And he's got Gruden out, it's a total accident. AB did something stupid. He's burned up his feet and jeopardized his season. And Jon Gruden's out here having to explain and rationalize this. He can't even install the offense. When you just give a guy this much new money and he's this kind of productive player, your whole offense is built around him. And he's too immature to handle this helmet thing, his own health. You know, I was talking with someone that played for Jon Gruden and knows him well. And Jon Gruden's offense is built on a receiver going over the middle on 3rd and 4 and 5. And this person who knows Gruden well, knows the offense well, is like, I just don't know if AB wants to be the guy going over the middle on 3rd and 5 because Jon Gruden's offense is built for that. There's a premier receiver, 3rd and 4, we're coming to you over the middle. You're going to have to take that hit. I don't think AB wants to live that life.
But I think as long as AB is on the field, there's going to be 2 people dealing with him. Mm-hmm. So some other receiver can go, if that's really the principle that they're trying to get to. He is such a problem from a defensive standpoint that you have to game plan for him every down that he's on the field. And that opens up things for other guys. So even if he's not as productive as he should be because of his feet early in the season, his presence alone will push coverage to him in ways that other guys can't get done.
If you think AB doesn't want the ball on 3rd down, you're crazy. And if they got an offense that requires him to go over the middle to get it, and he has a problem with it at 30, 31 years old, wouldn't shock me.
So what was your defensive call? Over cover too?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what to do, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. It's been said that Jon Gruden's first play of the regular season has more words on it than your whole script does, okay, in his offense.
Yeah.
So there's a reason he wants him there and running and doing things and huddling and going through the stuff because it's not an easy offense. It's not a player-friendly offense. It's a phenomenal offense. He does a great job with it. But you understand why he wants the receiver there with the quarterback and wants to go. And then you look at that foot thing and, well, it was an accident. It wasn't his fault. Okay, well, what's he telling us there? Well, the guy didn't go off on the 4th of July and blow 3 of his fingers off because he was playing with fireworks after he was told not to. Okay, he went over to try to take care of his body, and somebody did something wrong, and he can't practice. So I just think it's way too soon to be spending this much time on all this, and things are going to settle. And now, if AB decides to retire, then I'll take credit for your opening monologue. Yeah.
I already know you all's answer to this, but I'm going to ask the question anyway. Too soon for the Raiders to be thinking of an exit strategy here?
Absolutely. The grand eraser is in AB's hands in terms of his catches, his production. Once he hits the field, once they show that chemistry, once they get in sync, this is not even noise. This is forgotten. You don't even have the residue of this moment if they hit the regular season and do something. If this team makes the playoffs, it's kumbaya right now for the Raiders.
Let's say AB shows up and is just as productive. He's AB. But a coach is trying to establish a culture. And your guy you just paid, who's going to be the centerpiece of your offense, to me, has disrupted the culture. Instantly, day one.
As far as we think.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going on in his building. We don't know whether he's sitting there talking to his team and talk with AB present, talking about what their philosophy is going to be and how they're going to handle this. We don't know what's going on behind those closed doors. John's experienced enough to know how to handle these things.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. And be sure to check out more of the best clips from Speak For Yourself, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.